Welcome to Snap News TV. Why are there not more people talking about the specter of torture hanging heavy over the 9/11 trials at Guantanamo Bay? The legal proceedings against Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and his co-defendants are mired in controversy. At the heart of the issue lies the use of torture by the CIA. These enhanced interrogation techniques were used on the defendants during their years in CIA custody.
The use of torture presents a fundamental moral and legal dilemma. It raises serious questions about the U.S. government's commitment to human rights. The methods employed have tarnished the very ideals America stands for. The world watches as the U.S. grapples with this contradiction. The very foundation of a fair trial has been shaken. The nation must confront the dark side of its actions in the pursuit of justice. The U.S. government's attempt to reach a plea deal with the 9/11's defendants has fueled controversy. The proposed deal, sparing the defendants from the death penalty, was met with fierce opposition. For many families, the idea of the accused escaping capital punishment was unbearable.
Terry Strada, leading 9/11 Families United, voices their anger and grief. She argues that the death penalty is the only fitting punishment.
However, the plea deal exposed divisions within the 9/11's families. Some, like Brett Eagleson, see it as a step towards closure. They argue that torture has damaged the legal proceedings, making traditional trials unlikely to result in convictions. The families of the nearly 3,000 people killed on 9/11s are united in their grief, but divided on the best path towards justice. Many express profound frustration over the seemingly endless delays and legal wrangling. They feel that their pain, their loss, and their demand for accountability have been ignored.
Years have turned into decades, and the promise of a swift and decisive reckoning with the perpetrators remains unfulfilled. The families feel abandoned by the very system that promised them justice. The emotional toll of this prolonged legal battle is immeasurable, compounding their grief and anger.
For some families, the plea deal, though imperfect, offered a glimmer of hope for closure. It represented a potential end to the legal limbo, a chance to move on from this seemingly endless cycle of hearings and delays. The collapse of the plea deal has only deepened their sense of despair and disillusionment.
The 9/11 families are left grappling with the agonizing reality that a definitive legal resolution may never come. They are trapped in a painful waiting game, their quest for justice seemingly no closer to being fulfilled.
The legal proceedings against the 9/11 suspects at Guantanamo Bay are mired in a complex web of legal challenges. At the forefront of these challenges is the use of torture. Defense lawyers argue that the government's reliance on torture has irreparably tainted the evidence against their clients, making a fair trial impossible.
The admissibility of evidence obtained through torture remains a major point of contention. The legal principle of fruit of the poison tree holds that evidence derived from illegal means, such as torture, is inadmissible in court. This principle is a cornerstone of the American legal system, designed to deter government misconduct and protect the rights of the accused.
The 9/11's case has exposed the fragility of the justice system when confronted with the extraordinary circumstances of terrorism. The use of torture has created a legal minefield, making it exceedingly difficult to hold the perpetrators accountable while adhering to the principles of due process.
The legal battles surrounding the 9/11 trials are likely to continue for years to come. The use of torture has cast a long shadow over the proceedings, raising fundamental questions about the integrity of the evidence and the ability of the courts to deliver a just verdict.
The use of torture after 9/11 has ignited a fierce debate about the limits of power and the definition of justice.
Proponents of enhanced interrogation techniques argue these methods are necessary to extract vital intelligence and prevent future attacks. They contend the ends justify the means, even if those means involve inflicting pain and suffering.
However, opponents, including many legal experts, human rights advocates, and former intelligence officials, argue that torture is not only morally reprehensible, but also ineffective as an interrogation tool.
They point out that information obtained under duress is often unreliable, as detainees will say anything to make the pain stop. They argue that torture undermines the values and principles that America claims to defend.
The 9/11 trials force a moral reckoning for America. The world watches as the nation grapples with the legacy of torture, a stain on its conscience. The quest for justice, no matter how urgent or righteous, cannot come at the expense of the nation's soul.
The Guantanamo Bay detention camp has become synonymous with the controversial war on terror and its legal and moral complexities. Established in the aftermath of 9/11 to hold suspected terrorists, Guantanamo has been widely condemned as a legal black hole, where detainees are held indefinitely without trial, subject to harsh interrogation methods, and denied basic human rights. The use of torture at Guantanamo, exposed through leaked documents and first-hand accounts, has drawn international condemnation and tarnished America's image abroad. The facility has become a symbol of American hypocrisy, a stark reminder of the gap between the nation's ideals and its actions.
The 9/11 trials, forever linked to Guantanamo, are a testament to the enduring legacy of these controversial policies. The legal and ethical challenges posed by the use of torture have cast a long shadow over the proceedings, making it exceedingly difficult to deliver justice. The question of whether the death penalty is an appropriate punishment for the 9/11 defendants remains a deeply divisive issue.
For some, the death penalty represents the only just retribution for the unimaginable suffering inflicted upon innocent lives. They argue that the heinous nature of the crimes demands the ultimate punishment.
However, opponents argue that capital punishment is never the answer, even in cases of horrific crimes. They point out the risk of executing an innocent person is too great.
The death penalty debate in the 9/11 trials highlights the complex emotions surrounding the pursuit of justice.
The 9/11 attacks presented the U.S. with a profound dilemma: how to balance national security with the nation's commitment to human rights and the rule of law.
In the aftermath of the attacks, the Bush administration, driven by fear and a desire for retribution, embraced controversial policies, including the invasion of Iraq, the Patriot Act, and the use of torture. These policies, implemented to prevent future attacks, have had far-reaching consequences, both domestically and internationally. They have eroded civil liberties, alienated allies, and tarnished America's image as a champion of freedom and democracy.
The 9/11 trials are a stark reminder of the enduring tension between national security and human rights. The use of torture, prolonged detention without trial, and the legal complexities surrounding the case have fueled debate about the limits of power and the importance of upholding fundamental principles, even in the face of extraordinary threats. The 9/11 attacks were a watershed moment in American history, a day that forever changed the nation's psyche and its place in the world.
The quest for justice for the victims of that horrific day has been long and arduous, marked by legal battles, political maneuvering, and profound moral questions. The trials at Guantanamo Bay, once heralded as the main stage for holding the perpetrators accountable, have instead become mired in controversy, their legitimacy undermined by the use of torture and the erosion of due process. The road ahead remains uncertain. The legal challenges are daunting, the political will is waning, and the emotional toll on the families of the victims is immeasurable. Yet, the pursuit of justice, however elusive, must continue.
The 9/11 trials are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, the unwavering belief in the possibility of accountability, and the enduring hope for a world free from the scourge of terrorism. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoyed this video.